Now, if I remember it right, and I know I do, in the last session that we did, as in the not the pre-scene session, the one before that, I think our focus was on understanding the pre-scene of NCTech. Okay. Now, NCTech is, and you only were kind enough to analyze all the points for me and get that in place. Uh, Today we will focus on the answers to that question. There are quite a few points there. ठीक है. Some people must have gotten their feedback today. I think Bhumika got it, Navya got it, Kavya already got it. Shreya आपको मिला होगा ना आज? I think Pinky got one. I'm not sure whether she got the other. एक कोई भेजा है ना मैंने आज? आज नहीं, कल भेजा है शायद से. I don't remember, but हो जाएगा. आप सबके marks check हो जाएंगे. And what I was thinking is, uh, don't consider that today's session will be the last one. I will continue to sit with you till all your individual concerns and queries are resolved. ठीक है. तो आपको जो जो help चाहिए, I will be there to provide that. Don't worry. But for now, let's focus on getting the NCTech requirements. Now, let's look at the data. I hope this is big enough. The chair of the risk committee has undertaken an investigation into a recent data breach at NCTech and emailed its preliminary findings to the chief executive. The CEO is concerned that the resultant bad publicity could significantly harm NCTech's relationship with its client base and may have a detrimental effect on its business performance going forward. ठीक है. Restaurant has a resultant, there has been a bad publicity and it could significantly hamper the performance of the company going forward. There has been a data breach, right? The CEO has provided you with a copy of the email and asked for your assistance on what? Write a memo to the CEO which evaluates the information from the chair of the risk committee, the possible impact on NCTech's reputation, and recommends actions that NCTech should take. Professional marks are available for commercial acumen by demonstrating awareness of how the data breach could damage NCTech's reputation. Now, I believe that in a question such as this, the good part about SBL is now they also tell you how they are going to evaluate a skill. AAA, AFM, they just write that, in this question, we are going to judge commercial acumen, skepticism. But here, they have said we will check commercial acumen. There's no doubting that by demonstrating awareness of how the data breach could damage NCTech's reputation. That is the focal point here. ठीक है कि प्रोफेशनल स्किल क्या एक्सपेक्ट कर रहा है ये भी बताया है. Write a memo to the CEO which evaluates the information from the chair of the risk committee, the possible impact of on NCTech's reputation and recommend actions that NCTech should take. ठीक है. Now exhibit 1, data breach. On 21st of October, Acha, who has written this? This is to CEO from the chairman of the risk committee. The date is 18th of November. Data breach at NCTech data center. On 21st of October, sensitive details belonging to several large clients were accessed by an unknown external party following a secret attack on our core system. The data breach was identified by an internal security tool which alerted the data staff center that there had been an attempt to access the core client database. Now, when you start reading the question, now you lose track of the requirement. Evaluate possible impact on NCTech's reputation, recommends action that NCTech should take. This is rough work for you. ये मैंने स्टूडेंट से ही बनवाया है इन द लास्ट अटेम्प्ट. फॉर्मेट लिखो. एग्जिबिट कौन सा आपको रेफर करना है? मेक अ रेफरेंस टू द एग्जिबिट. टॉपिक इज रिस्क मैनेजमेंट. ठीक है. एंड दिस इज फॉर 18 मार्क्स. 14 plus 4, 4 marks for commercial acumen. You have to see how the impact will, what impact it will have on NCTech's reputation. Then recommend the action that you should take. So you have to talk about two things: impact on the reputation and action that NCTech should take. दोनों लिखना है. Recommendation should be clearly written in a separate paragraph. Okay. Now, My investigations found that the firewall had not been operating fully since 10th of July. The unauthorized party, that is the hacker, accessed and copied client data and then attempted to delete it from the database. However, no data was actually deleted, so the client affected were unaware of the breach and continued to use NCTech servers and data storage facilities. The data hacked is very likely to have included some commercially confidential information. If this is misused or shared by the hacker, it could expose those affected agents to significant financial losses and other commercial damage. It is vital that we are always honest with our clients. Should the security breach become public, should it become public knowledge, it is likely to generate concern and anger and harm NCTech's reputation. Therefore, we need to undertake further detailed investigations to determine exactly which clients were affected by the breach and to what extent they were exposed. A related concern is that although NCTech's data center staff had actually identified the data breach, it had not been brought to the attention of senior management or even internally reported. It appears that the breach was rapidly and effectively closed without being properly investigated. It was only reported to the board following an internal audit of the data center. By failure to report this incident, there had been a serious breach of trust. Trust has always been a key feature of the NCTech business model, and culture is a part of our core values. It is possible that similar data breaches have occurred in the past but have not been reported. Those members of staff involved in the incident may need to be referred for disciplinary action. However, it is equally important to remind all of the staff of the importance of complying with NCTech's internal procedures and practices to maintain the integrity of the systems and services which we provide to our clients. ठीक है? So, this is the first exhibit, and I would like to believe that all the information that you require for answering the first requirement demonstrate awareness about the data breach, impact on reputation and recommend actions. वो सारा कुछ डेटा आपके पास है यहाँ पे. Now, this is a question on risk. I completely understand, but I don't feel the need, at least yet, to refer to, certain topics in the मतलब स्टडी हब का कुछ. आई डोंट फील द नीड टू टॉक अबाउट दैट राइट नाउ. ठीक है. अब लेट्स हियर इट फ्रॉम यू कि हाउ टू डील विद दिस सिचुएशन. ठीक है. भूमिका, बताइए.
So, like over here, there are internal control difficulties, faults that basically the firewall was not operating since 10 July. So we could identify certain aspects into this and recommend the issues. कि probably अगर firewall was not working, so you would have reported or you would have probably renewed और मतलब जो भी उसको नया ठीक करके रख सकते थे, so that ऐसा cyber security वो maintain रहता. Something
ओके.
on that note.
राहुल, व्हाट डू यू थिंक?
The same thing, but we can implement internal controls to uh, regular review for getting into how firewall has been not working for function. Like if we have a weekly review for the firewall system, then we would have known that the firewall is not working. And the data theft, like it's happened internally, I guess, because of a breach. So there must be a senior authority there who should be maintaining this.
ओके. पिंकी, you had something to say?
Yeah, actually, so I was want to say, the data hacker was trying to delete the data. Here, the control, internal control, they could keep the backup data in different locations with very confidential and have the very limited access to very um, limited people. So nobody will can know that what the data is hacking, and they should have the backup plan.
Okay, fair enough. Anyone else? There is a huge flaw, I would say, in your answers. आपने पॉइंट्स ठीक बताए. आई डोंट थिंक आई हैव अ प्रॉब्लम विद द पॉइंट्स, बट I believe in your mind you are answering a very different question. क्वेश्चन क्या है? व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन? यू हैव द एग्जाम किट विथ यू, एक बार खोलो तो। टेल मी व्हाट इज द क्वेश्चन फर्स्ट, व्हाट इज द रिक्वायरमेंट?
How it will impact on our reputation of NCTech.
एंड डिड यू हाईलाइट दैट?
No,
You
sir.
told about controls, you told about क्या करना चाहिए, क्या नहीं करना चाहिए. You said all of that, and all of those are great points. There is a system breach, there is failure of risk mitigation controls, and it appears that this vulnerability was there for several months, and all of that, no doubt. But while writing this answer, you missed out on the main requirement that they had, and as a result, almost none of you has been able to score more than 60 in the test that I have given you. Not because you don't understand. I believe there is nothing in SBL to understand. But if you don't answer the question requirement, you cannot expect to get absolutely any marks in the paper. Talk about what went wrong, great, but talk about how it is affecting the reputation of the company. There has been a breach of trust. Okay, what is that breach of trust? An issue occurred in the organization. ठीक है, कोई issue हुआ, that issue should have been reported to the right people. That issue was not reported to the right people. Don't you think that also uh, brings into question the integrity of the staff members? They did not report that, and now you are saying, yes, of course, there has to be a disciplinary action. But don't you think, even as an organization, you have failed because you have not been able to set up the right culture where you are avoiding telling it because of fear of blame, right? So, recommend the actions that NCTech should take is a separate point, but the key focus of the answer should be the impact on reputation of the company. And I believe none of you addressed that. At least the ones who wrote, who specifically spoke, I don't think anyone spoke about it. Now I want you to revisit that part again and tell me in Exhibit 1, what is the impact on your reputation here?
If like
So,
we are the customers get to know about the data theft and the stolen data, then there will be a high. It might take that the customer will most likely to switch because of the reputation loss, and there will be high impact on the market share of NCTech and leading towards decreasing in revenue due to reputation.
Okay.
so this breach of data and everything will also lead to legal penalties and fines once the customers get to know about it. Plus, and the same that loss of customers and market share.
Okay. And a company whose IT controls are not working. See, when you disclose, see, you want to now have a fair and transparent approach, and you want to tell the world that your data was compromised. The impact is that it could take away clients' trust. Competitors would benefit from this reputational loss. Although data was not permanently lost, you might make claims about it. But now clients have questions about the security of your systems, right? And that might invite certain legal problems also in the future. है ना? Then, see, the from a cultural concern also, the staff is basically not avoiding, sorry, the staff is avoiding coming up with a suo motu declaration, because somewhere they believe there are reputational, I mean, they believe that they will be blamed, and other problems will be there. And they thought it was petty, probably a small issue, and they never escalated that problem. So it has created a culture of bypassing controls, and it is basically threatening the very foundation on which customers place trust on you, right? So वो आपको describe करना है. What are the issues that that we should be talking about? We should be talking about कि यार system breach हो गया, and यहाँ पे it is, you feel that the immediate short term measure you put in place, but current IT security procedures, by the way, will have to be reviewed, and that will have to be done as an urgent matter, है ना? Now if Another concern is that the way people will perceive this is कि यार एक बार हुआ है तो it must have happened in the past, it will happen in the future. So erosion of public trust, erosion of customer trust is something, that you will have to learn to live with. Correct? Unfortunately, in this situation, that is what has happened. So, what the board must do is, even when you are communicating to the world at large, the recommended board actions may issue a clear communication, but it has to be done by choosing the right set of words. Na? Issue clear communication is the point, right? And I could also add clear and carefully worded communication. I don't think you are okay with losing that kind of public support, right? So clear and carefully worded is the word. You need clear and carefully worded communication to talk to your people. That will come under recommended action. You could consider offering financial compensation to minimize legal disputes. You'll have to release acha, this is a PR problem, huh? This is not a, abhi tak system data has not been stolen, but it has happened. So now you have to minimize the damage. And how do you minimize the damage? You will have to. And how do you minimize the damage? You minimize the damage by issuing. आपको अब खुद को बचाना है ना, तो कैसे बचाएंगे? पब्लिक स्टेटमेंट देना पड़ेगा. You will have to control the narrative. Usually, when a social media scandal breaks out, the one who speaks first often gets that, soft corner बोल सकते हो आप, right? This question has to be thought of that way. Suppose आप assume करो कि think about it in a simple situation, ठीक है? I said that accounting entry for cash sale, ठीक है? Accounting entry for cash sale. uh, I said sales to cash. मुझे ऐसा बोलने में भी I feel very weird. But let us say I put it on social media, sales to cash, sales to cash. Now I realize, oh my God, the entry is wrong. And if a faculty is saying sales to cash, I will have no reputation left in the market after that, right? But now this error has happened. How do I control? I will have to come up with a very smart statement. I was just testing you. I knew it. I was just waiting to see how many of you were able to spot that mistake. Now that you have spotted the mistake, you are right ready to take on the ACCA course. Join me for that. This is how you control the narrative, right? This is what they are expecting as one of the recommended responses. Ki the statement that you go should be in such a way ki you are able to control what people perceive of you, right? You will have to take steps to reform the organization culture by timely reporting. You will have to create that culture of trust, and then talk about so that is the recommendation part. Okay, so this is how your answer should be worded. Are you with me? You realized what mistake each one of you was making? Okay. अब मैंने मैक्सिमम जो पेपर्स आए हैं ना, what I think I have evaluated some 14 15 mock ones so far. The biggest problem is you don't correlate it with the points. You are only framing the answer in the way you deem fit. You are not correlating that with facts of the case, and that is a big problem. Also, have been extremely strict when evaluating your answers. मैंने मतलब लिटरली बैठ के फिर बाद में सबके इसमें से 5 6 मार्क्स कम किए हैं because I wanted you to be even more precise. So if you have gotten a 55, you are above 60. If I have kept you below 50, that means the actual score was above 50. मैंने जानबूझ के I have reduced the score because I feel it's better to make a mistake now instead of 1 week from now. ठीक है? You are not referring enough to the exhibits. You just, when I say अरे SBL में कुछ भी चलता है, it doesn't mean कुछ भी चलता है. It has to correlate with the exhibit ना. Everything you need to know is in the exhibit, right? अब I want you to see this answer. Yes, Rahul, tell me.
Can we write as because of recovering of data which has been stolen, we can bring for bringing back the data stolen and implementing new firewalls, the cost will be increasing, and due to which there will be high impact on our gross profit margin and operating margin. So which will impact our shareholders and leading towards less investment, getting less investment or finance from
You
the
can.
market.
You can. This is fair. This correlates with the data. You are connecting what you have read with this. So, fair enough. वो चलेगा. ठीक है? Read the answer, see how I have framed it, and then, of course, let me know when you are done, and we'll move to the next part. Sure. Yes, tell me.
Hi, sir.
Hi.
So for the recommendation part, I had one doubt that since the it will affect the company's reputation because they were weak in internal control policies. So in the recommendation part, can we write that company should bring external expertise, like they should reform their weak internal control systems? So in order to make a good image, like just to do a damage control to their clients. So will that part uh, will be able to correlate with this exhibit. Like,
You can. Is this Ishika?
yes,
चलो अभी तक I can recognize voices. But yes, you can mention that point.
thank you, sir.
ठीक है? चलो. Read breach of trust. First, explain the situation. Then talk about the concerns that you might have. Tell me, हाँ scroll कब करना है?
So please scroll. So,
हम्म
so what if we do this question in tabular format? Like एक जगह पे रिस्क आइडेंटिफाई किया और उसका इम्पैक्ट क्या होगा ऑन दी
You are
कंपनी?
not writing double A.
ओके सर.
Risk and auditor response. I know you are trying to go back to familiar territory. Don't do that.
ठीक है सर. तो नॉट इवन इन इंटरनल कंट्रोल्स और वीकनेस वाला में भी नहीं?
ऐसा क्वेश्चन हार्डली आएगा ना आपको पेपर में. पूछ चुके हो ना. मतलब वो पूछ चुके हैं ना दूसरे पेपर में.
हम्म.
राइट.
ठीक है सर.
Tell me when you want me to scroll and I will.
सर प्लीज प्रो.
Recommended actions and then a conclusion. You are doing a memo, right? हो गया. Okay.
Yes.
Let's have a look at the next exhibit. Sorry, next requirement. The recent security breach has forced the board to consider enhancements to the current IT security requirements at NCTech. You have been provided with relevant extracts from NCTech's current IT security manual and have been asked to evaluate it and recommend any further measures that will help to strengthen these existing controls and reduce the risk of a future data breach. Draft a briefing paper to the board that evaluates the four security layers in NCTech's IT security manual and recommend any further security controls that should be put in place to minimize the risk of a future data breach. Up for this one, there is a separate exhibit that they have given. Let's go through that exhibit. Exhibit 2 में you have the four security layers. ठीक है. I want you to read it first and then understand what is the requirement in the question. पूछा क्या है आपको. Extract from NCTech's IT security manual. Now, you are no experts in IT audits, neither am I. But we have to attempt this question. That means we are not supposed to refer to any other knowledge apart from the data that is given in the exhibit. All of you have the kit with you? ठीक है. Requirement क्या है? फिर से go back. Evaluate the four layers of security. Evaluate का meaning होता है determine the scenario in the light of the arguments for and against. Say something in favor or against, both. Actually, when the verb evaluate is used, you have to do both. Human layer. और पूछा क्या है आपको एनालिसिस रिक्वायरमेंट में. Evaluate the four security layers in the security manual and then recommend any further security controls that should be put in place. ठीक है. करेंगे इसको. एक बार पढ़ो. Take 5 to 6 minutes, read, evaluate, and then we'll discuss it. NCTech applies four layers of IT security: human layer, People, both internal and external to NCTech, present a significant risk to the integrity of our IaaS business model. NCTech staff should fully understand the complexity of the technology in use and how it can remain secure. Security control applied at this layer. Robust access control procedures help to reduce the risk of a security breach. Compulsory training ensures compliance with NCTech standard operating procedures. So you have to evaluate each layer. Now, what can you say about the human layer? Acha, explain the human layer to me in simple words. They are people, right? Who are internal and external. And what are the security controls? Robust access control procedures help to reduce the risk of a security breach. What are access control procedures? Things like passwords, two-factor verifications, like, HDFC and all of these people, they will often send you messages and, uh, emails saying, please do not share your OTP with anyone or change your password regularly. What are these? These are communications that are coming, which are a part of the control procedures, right? Now, the human layer controls, they are primarily based around information, communication of that, and educating and training the staff on how to basically follow access rights so that the data remains secure. है ना? Now, this layer will also include practices like regularly changing passwords to avoid any unauthorized access into the system, logging a customer out automatically after just say 3 minutes के लिए, if your page is inactive, it automatically logs you out your net banking page on its. But here, what does it depend on? That is not the human layer, na? That is the system layer. Matlab, that is inside the system. Human layer is educating the staff, giving them adequate training, and asking them to change their passwords on a regular basis. Every 30 days, password change karna hai. Telling them not to keep any password which was the last three passwords. ये compulsory training ensures that they are in compliance with NCTech standard operating procedures. The company must have developed an SOP, that is a standard operating procedure. ठीक है? And the point here is that this training of employees, this training of individuals will basically ensure कि यार at that level कम से कम the human beings are following the basic expectations that they are supposed to do. ठीक है? ये layer ऐसे तो ठीक है, but it relies on staff behavior, training and adherence to procedures. Password discipline change karna, having security awareness training, that is great. But this breach, has it shown us that human controls alone are not enough? The manual does not appear to include continuous monitoring of compliance, right? Uh, it's this will work as long as human beings are trying to be compliant. The moment they decide not to be compliant, this will stop working. है ना? ये तब तक ही काम करेगा जब तक human beings are following the rules and regulations and following the standard operating procedures. The moment they stop following that, this layer will go for a toss. Do you agree? So how do you make it better? You strengthen, maybe you could conduct surprise checks, spot checks conduct कर सकते हैं. You will have to conduct regular refresher trainings for the staff so that they are made aware of what exactly, that is a recommendation कि even if you have a fear कि यार ये लोग भूल जाएंगे, uh, what to do if they are not following the procedures. At least while doing this or by doing this, you will be able to reinforce certain things, है ना? You will be able to reinforce. A lot of training is basically reinforcement कि यार जो पहले हुआ था, whatever has happened in the past, we are just kind of hammering it in your heads. How do you do that? By conducting a refresher course. Don't you guys ask for a revision? Yeah, revision कैसे? What is revision? Revisiting concepts that you feel you might have forgotten, right? And this is trying to do exactly that. Okay, so all of these points, they do play a critical role when you are talking about the recommendations to be given for the human layer. Okay, when they said evaluate, you have to say that having password controls and all of that is great, but also mention that it can be of use to you only till the time your employees are willing to listen to you. It can be of use to you only till the time your employees are मतलब सी दे आर नॉट डूइंग दिस ऑन पर्पस, वो जानबूझ के किसी चीज को, दे आर नॉट ट्राइंग टू get rid of that, or they are not trying to cut corners, but sometimes people just forget, or they often feel कि यार इतना सारा काम है, why should I pay attention to this system, or why should I pay attention to this specific aspect, right? So that is the human layer. Have a look at the human layer. I'll just make you read that part.
So
Yes.
So, in this scenario, that I cannot see that the company is focusing towards like they don't have any compliance committee. So even if the staff members identify any such discrepancies, they are not able to report it. So I believe that the actions which they are taking is sufficient, but I believe that a dedicated committee should also be there. So even if I am I am identifying any discrepancies in the IT systems or anything, I can report them directly. And a committee should also be responsible for monitoring such activities of the staff members.
Fair enough. That can be a very good point. Yes.
Also, sir, installation of CCTV cameras and biometric systems, will this be a part of human layer protection?
It can be.
Like
What's
it will
it's system
restrict
based,
the.
है ना वो? It is
Acha.
system based, so it will not be a part of this layer.
Okay, I thought maybe it will restrict the entry of the people who are not a part of organization. So,
No, no, no. So that is not, but that is not human layer. ना human layer is telling, यहाँ पे क्या लिखा है? How have they described the human layer? Robust access control procedures. So, passwords हो गया, biometric can be a part, but it can be a part of the perimeter layer also. So
understood.
थोड़ा सा it can be slightly tricky. So जो लिखा नहीं है उसको include मत करना.
Also, sir, internal auditing जो होता है for the systems, can it be a
Hmm.
part of human layer protection,
As
like
a
security control?
as a detective activity, detective controls के form में, yes, you can mention that. But
Understood.
remember, कितने मार्क्स के लिए है उतने ही पॉइंट्स आपको लिखना है, नॉट मोर.
Yes.
ठीक है.
Okay.
Now who can explain the perimeter layer to me?
Sir, it is the layer in which it talks about where the clients are accessing the data in
Hmm.
application, and this layer includes all the client devices also which are connected with the NCTech servers and cloud.
Okay, okay. Anyone else who wants to add to what she said just now?
Sir, it is the most vulnerable part of the system.
Okay. So let's read. Perimeter is the outer layer. Perimeter मतलब जो like a compound wall that you have. The perimeter is the outer layer of the whole NCTech system and is the point where clients connect and gain access to their own data and applications. This layer includes all client devices which are connected to the NCTech system. So this could potentially be the most vulnerable part of our system. All external client devices need to be registered and authorized to gain access to the IaaS system. This is to ensure that only recognized and trusted devices can cross the system perimeter. A unique security key is allocated for each client device. Like, when you install mobile banking in your phone, so you have to send a message from your registered mobile number in your phone. Tab jaake, the system gets activated, right? My mobile banking cannot be installed in Shreya's phone because that registration message has to go from my phone. Correct? So that's the starting point. That is the perimeter layer. Now we have to comment on, is this enough? Right. Now, when I'm talking about the perimeter layer, it basically tells me कि एक किसी और का device, how does somebody else's device connect with the system? ठीक है. Now, NCTech authorizes devices in advance. This recent breach is showing that यार the control failed because an unauthorized device bypassed detection. Na? It did not get blocked. Had If your perimeter layer was strong enough, then the unauthorized device should have been stopped from accessing your system, right? But it still accessed your system, which means yeah, this layer has a problem. Now, we have identified what the problem is कि यार it was not enough to get the job done. Now you tell me what are some of the recommended मतलब what could be some of the recommendations for you, not for you, for them. Can we talk about two-factor authentication? Then how to prevent any unauthorized individual from accessing your system? Can we have a firewall in place? Right? Or you could have, automated alerts. Jaise, if on my credit card somebody spends a lakh rupees, now if I also spend a lakh rupees on my credit card, I immediately get a notification from, or I get a call. They are trying, this transaction is happening on your card. You better stop it. Right? Or is it you? If I press one, then they pass it. Otherwise, they reverse the transaction. They don't let it happen. These are again some of the automated triggers that you could put in place. Ki when an unfamiliar device tries to access the system, there is an alert that goes to the client, right? Or alert that goes to you also, ki yaar, somebody whose device is not registered is trying to access the system. And very clearly, this layer has failed. Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
एक बार देखो पेरीमीटर लेयर को. ठीक है. See, these are the good part about SBL is that these are not the only recommendations. If you give another recommendation like Ishika gave about internal audit, I think that could be a good one. See, this is not a virus attack, na? ये virus attack नहीं है. This is intrusion in the system. So we cannot stop it using antivirus. उसके लिए firewall या intrusion detection system अपने को लगाना पड़ेगा, right? But as long as your point makes sense, you can write about it. Let's talk about the next layer, which is the application layer. ठीक है. अब this includes the application layer relates to the software we use to provide services to our clients. This includes the IaaS operating system as well as the varied applications used by our clients. The application layer enables the whole system to function effectively and securely within prescribed operating parameters. Security controls applied at this layer. All client applications need to be checked, formally approved, and registered to prevent the use of unauthorized and unsafe software applications on the IaaS system. Relates to the software we use to provide services to our clients, the backend software. This includes the IaaS operating system as well as applications used by our clients. So client ने जो app install किया है on his device, that is also included. This layer enables the whole system to function effectively and securely. All clients' applications need to be checked, formally approved, and registered to prevent the use of unauthorized and unsafe software application on the IaaS system. So let's understand this layer. Controls at this layer could include, restricting unsafe software. जैसे, say for example, if you are trying to download an app which is not really verified on Google Store, या जिसमें bugs have been reported or many such issues have happened, before you download na, there comes a pop-up on your screen that are you sure you want to download it. अब जैसे when I try to convert my recordings in Zoom ना, तो कभी कभी वो पूछता है are you sure you want to convert it, because they are giving me, they are restricting me from doing an unsafe activity, है ना. So यहाँ पे the system is basically stopping you from doing an unsafe activity. And so far I think no issues have been reported ऑन दिस फ्रंट कि यार ये फेल हुआ, ऐसा नहीं है. अनऑथोराइज डिवाइसेस एक्सेस द सिस्टम, बट ऐप में कोई डाउन टाइम या एनी ऑफ दोज इश्यूज वर नॉट रिपोर्टेड. बट you will have to be on your toes constantly when it comes to the application layer. You will have to do continuous updates, जैसे you get update on your phone कि यार this particular app has been updated and XYZ bugs have been fixed. So now you should update your app. फिर आप उसको अपडेट में लगाते हो, फिर वो 1 मिनट में अपडेट हो जाता है. मे बी द ओल्डर ऐप, से फॉर एग्जाम्पल बिग बास्केट का ऐप है, एंड इट इज वल्नरेबल बिकॉज इट्स security controls are not tight, right? So before doing that, I think देर इज, मतलब ये फियर हो सकता है ना कि यार एन अनऑथोराइज्ड पर्सन एक्सेसेस योर लैपटॉप और योर फोन बिकॉज ऑफ द फेलियर ऑफ द ऐप टू रिस्ट्रिक्ट द एक्सेस ऑफ वायरसेस एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट. तो अगर आपको वो सब रोकना है, इफ यू वांट टू स्टॉप ऑल ऑफ दैट फ्रॉम हैपनिंग, देन what you should do is you should have continuous updates being released so that you are protecting yourself from any unauthorized access, and you can protect the system while that happens. Okay. You should basically, before new client apps are installed, there has to be a testing of those apps, and that these could be some of the recommended controls that you put in place. Okay. Now when you are talking about these aspects, आपको क्वेश्चन में बहुत स्पेसिफिकली पूछा है, बार बार पूछा है कि व्हाट आर सम ऑफ द, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल टॉक अबाउट द एडिक्वेसी. ठीक है. व्हेन यू से टॉक अबाउट evaluate the controls, if the question was talk about the adequacy of controls, you would have said whether it is sufficient or not. So आपके आंसर में words would have changed a little. Now if the question is saying कि यार आप इसको evaluate करो, ठीक है, when the question is saying evaluate, look at both sides of the argument. ठीक है. Now there is the fourth layer which is the data layer. ठीक है, एक बार डेटा लेयर देखते हैं. Client data held and processed on our system is the most likely target for cyber attacks. So, the integrity of client data must be a fundamental purpose of our security measures. Any data loss will result any data loss will erode client trust in our business model and could result in a significant downturn in business activity with a consequent deterioration in financial performance. Data breaches could also expose the company to regulatory fines and other legal sanctions. Security controls applied at this layer, firewalls to control the flow of incoming and outgoing data, vigorous procedures to ensure the secure access and integrity of client data held on the IaaS system. ठीक है. Now, let's talk about the data layer. So आपका जो फाइनल फाइल है, अभी तक तो यू आर लुकिंग एट डिफरेंट लेयर्स. नाउ द फाइनल डेटा फाइल विच कंटेन्स पासवर्ड और विच कंटेन्स other personal details, they are getting accessed in this situation, or there was an attempt to access those internal data files. The data could have been copied, the data could have been lost, and right now there appears to be a gap here, right? So ideally what you should do is, what if the attacker or the hacker, what if he would have deleted all the data? तो आपके पास क्या होना चाहिए? You should implement data loss prevention tools. कुछ तो recovery mechanism should be put in place. Data encryption should happen. What will data encryption include? मतलब what will that lead to? Even if somebody looks at the data, it will be gibberish to that person unless you have a private key to open the data, right? And third party reviews of firewall would also help majorly, right? So all of these points, yeah, regular backups would also be an important part, and data encryption, both of these would play a significant role. ठीक है. एक बार अभी ये एप्लीकेशन लेयर एंड डेटा लेयर दोनों देखो.
So,
Hmm.
so are these layers like four different layers in the
Yes.
protection?
Yes.
Okay.
ठीक है. ठीक है.
Yes.
So this was the first task, task 1A and 1B. Now let's move on to the second task, task 2, for which we'll need to look at exhibit 3. ठीक है. Exhibit 3 जो है, that is on farmland business review. ठीक है. Let me just put it for you to read on your screen, and let's also understand what the task requirement is वहां पे. रिक्वायरमेंट क्या है? The current NCTech board structure and membership has stayed unaltered since the company listed on the Farland Stock Exchange 5 years ago. However, two board members are due to retire in the next year. The chair of the nominations committee believes that consideration should be given to more diversity on the board as a part of NCTech succession planning. He has asked you to advise him on issues related to board diversity. Write a briefing paper to the chair of the nomination committee which explains how NCTech could benefit from a more diverse board of directors. 10 marks. The HR director has recently read an article on talent management and believes that अरे वाह HR को पढ़ना भी आता है, and believes that the introduction of a talent management program at NCTech may help recruit new board members and improve workforce planning. As talent management is a new concept to NCTech, you have been asked to report back to the HR director about the relative merits of introducing a talent management program at NCTech. Write an email to HR director which evaluates the advantages and disadvantages of formally adopting a talent management program. ये एक बार पढ़ो तो. Read this. Farmland Business Review. Chalo, what does this tell you? Can you tell me what is written in the exhibit here? What are they talking about?
So they're talking about like the employees are a business critical assets, and in order to keep them upskilled and developed, और like उनकी भी growth matter करती है, so it is better to introduce a talent management program. And then they have talked about the challenges that might occur establishing the talent management policy.
Okay. So the second part of the question primarily relies on this particular exhibit, right? Why do you need a talent management program, and how it can actually help the client? The first part of the question, however, is how can you improve the board effectiveness by having a more diverse board? Question is on board diversity. How do you think that can happen here? How can you improve the diversity of the board? And चलो वो नहीं बताना है आपको. How getting in more diversity in the board structure can help the company? Any ideas on that? It is a 10-mark question. At least give me 5 to 6 points. 5 points तो चलो minimum आपके दिमाग में आने चाहिए.
So by diverse board, we can cater larger key stakeholders' perspective, like multiple board members can bring on wider perceptions and which will going to satisfy the needs of multiple stakeholders, ultimately focusing on the shareholders' wealth and leading to good image of the company in the
ये
market.
इसमें मुझे बहुत सारे पॉइंट्स दिखे. I could see multiple points here.
Hmm.
The first point, can we say that having a diverse board basically helps us in better decision making?
Yes.
Now, see, if you have all men above the age of 50 on the board, if that is the demographic, then their worldview or their perception is limited to their age group and the experiences they have had. So there is always a fear that, that group think wala situation या herd mentality wala situation होने का possibility है, because everybody is of the same age, of the same understanding, of the same level. तो they will not end up challenging each other's decisions. जो एक ने बोला दूसरा भी वही एक्सेप्ट कर लेगा, एंड दैट कॉन्स्टेंट क्वेश्चनिंग दैट हैपेंस ना, दैट वोंट हैपन इन दिस केस. सो व्हेन यू हैव people who are from diverse backgrounds, they will challenge the decisions, and in that, or they will challenge the whatever one set of people are saying, and in that process what will happen is you will be able to make better balanced decisions in the company, right? So yeah, this could be one good part about having a diverse board. Then, don't you think when you are dealing with different markets, having people, having men and women, having people of different age groups, having people from different parts of the country or the world will help you to cater to all the different markets that are there. So that alignment will happen. Then, when there is diversity on the board, it gives a better public image. It often used to happen, जैसे ऑस्कर अवार्ड्स जब होते हैं ना, तो at that time, और बहुत बार क्या होता था, ओनली वाइट अमेरिकन्स वुड एंड अप रिसीविंग द अवार्ड. सो पीपल स्टार्टेड क्रिटिसाइजिंग देम. द अफ्रीकन अमेरिकन स्टार्टेड गेटिंग, देन सम ईयर people from China got an award. So that is how they were trying to portray that, we are not only in favor of white people, we are giving awards to everyone. So it presents a better image about the company. You get a wider talent pool to select from, right? Then you are able to meet the stakeholder and investor expectations, and then there is greater adaptability. इनोवेशन के भी चांसेस आर बेटर. ठीक है. नाउ अगेन, दिस आंसर, पीपल हु हैव गॉन थ्रू द मतलब बोर्ड वाला पार्ट ना, where we have had that discussion, they will be able to answer. But even if you haven't gone through that video, uh, I think you have read enough in your life that you can answer a question on the board diversity. ठीक है. So again, just basic common sense and correlating it with facts of the case. ठीक है. So have a look at it. Have a look at the points in this situation. ठीक है, चलो, let's look at the next requirement, which is email to HR director, which evaluates the advantages and disadvantages of NCTech of formally adopting a talent management program. Based on this exhibit, what can you tell me? What are the what are some of the benefits of adopting a talent management program, and how can it help the organization, and what could be some of the problems associated with it? In your words, Rahul. Guys, you can speak up also, na? It's not so difficult.
So,
Hmm.
talent management helps in the learning and development of the employees, and same like the employees, the advancement in the new future aspects, and जो भी analysis करेंगे for the future growth that is required. So it can help in those employees upscaling,
Hmm.
and hence that can be like उनकी भी productivity बढ़ेगी along with that as an individual, and the organization's productivity as well.
Fair enough. Shreya,
So, like due to having a talent management program, there will be a higher morality boost to the staff, and which will increase the like loyalty of staff towards the company, and might reduce the staff retention rate and turnover, staff turnover rate.
think talent management program, the first thing it will do is it will help you to bring in, the right kind of people, है ना? So when the talent management program is done right, first of all, you will be able to attract the right kind of people. That is the first step. ठीक है? Then you will be able to see, talent management is not just about hiring. Talent management is also about what do you do with the talent that you have. So when you have the right program in place, then somewhere that will also involve यार कि आप सबसे पहले make sure that these people they have the right set of KPIs or key performance indicators that can guide them better, right? So you are not giving them any unrealistic performance targets. You are evaluating them using fair means. Okay, you are giving them the right platform. You are evaluating them using fair means. That is also a part of the talent management activity, right? And that will naturally help you to improve the overall performance, right? Then you will by getting the right people, and by giving them the right key performance indicators for KPIs and targets and all of that, don't you think it is possible for you to align them with the organization's strategic objectives? Basically, whatever targets you are giving to the team, I often say it at work कि यार मुझे use करो properly. When I say use me properly, what is your organizational goal? You want your organization to become known for XYZ activity, to become known in ACCA. You have me. I know certain things well. Use me in the right way. So, if you have the right key performance indicators, if you know कि सही लोगों को कैसे hire करना है, if you know what kind of platform to give them, if you have knowledge about these things, उससे क्या help होता है? It basically helps you to understand ki how can their strengths and how can their knowledge and their role, how can you elevate them to get the right output out of them, and then that can help you in overall organization growth, right? Because if people are used in the right way, only then you will get that organizational growth, right? It will also help to bring in positive culture. एक second guys. Anyway, chalo, positive culture, and it will see if people know that there are not family ties that are bringing in people, but you are hiring people by using the right methods, you are giving people an equal opportunity to work, you are giving them the right KPIs, you are setting them up for success, and in a way, managing them in the right way. I think on a certain level, it also helps to create a positive attitude amongst the existing employees. You know what? Our talents are going to be used in the right way, and we are in the right place at the right time. So that is also something that that a talent management program helps you with. Also, talent management, as I said, is not just hiring. Talent management is also it has got a lot to do with succession planning, also getting the right people in place to replace your current people if they go on their way out. So that could also be you know one of the benefits of having a talent management program. But if people are not used right, if you don't have the right set of people, there could be strategic misalignment, as you say. uh, Often, the cost of running the cost of running a strong talent acquisition, talent management team is high, because if you need good HR people, then you will have to pay for them. So that restriction is also there. You could have a situation, where your internal talents are not enough. So not all staff is ready for taking on the next role or for going on and getting a promotion. Not everybody is eligible for that. And if everybody is not eligible for that, then naturally you will have to get people from outside. That will involve a certain cost. So all of these points have to be mentioned here. And the exhibit helps you tackle most of these requirements. है ना? So the answer to this, of course, is a mixture of your understanding and referring to the exhibit. ठीक है? Yes, Ishika, tell me.
Sorry, sir. Sir, staff retention will not be the reasonable point here.
Staff retention can also be considered as one of the points, no doubt.
Actually, I was confusing in like talent management pool. I was getting confused by either we are hiring people or we are also retaining the effective or valuable staff.
We are retaining effective and valuable staff. We are helping them grow. Talent management is giving them career growth path also, na?
Understood.
So talent management is hiring से लेके retention तक everything, getting the right people, promoting the right people in the organization, all of these.
Understood.
ठीक है?
Thank you.
You're welcome. चलिए, let's talk about the advantages.
So,
Hmm?
so can the customer satisfaction be a point? Like if we have well-trained employees who are working in a very efficient manner, customer satisfaction can also be increased.
Yeah,
Like customers will get better output of work
you
which
can.
they.
Yeah, you can mention that. You can write 2, 3 lines about it. That's okay. ठीक है। ठीक है। ओके, I can see the attendance dropping as we move along. You want me to complete it right now? एक ही task बचा है, or you want to take it up later? कर लेते हैं. Let's not push it. Let's do task 3. Task 3 is based on the next exhibit. So let me just put out the exhibit for you. We'll read the requirement. I will allow you to read it for like 5 to 7 minutes, and then we can go on to the next one. So you have the kit, right? Open Exhibit 4, read Exhibit 4. I'll quickly walk you guys through the requirement. ठीक है, क्या है requirement? Prepare a report for commercial director which evaluates the various stakeholders who may influence strategic planning at NCTech and consider how they may have conflicting demands on NCTech. Various stakeholders who may influence strategic planning at NCTech, and 2 slides with accompanying notes for presentation to the board that explain the main capitals that should be included in an integrated report for use by NCTech stakeholders and advise on the business benefits to NCTech of adopting integrated reporting. ठीक है, इसके लिए जो एग्जिबिट है दैट इज एग्जिबिट 4. ठीक है, go through this. I will give you 5 to 6 minutes. इसको पढ़ो and then we'll do it together. ठीक है, please start. What is the question requirement? The question requirement is the marketing department has undertaken a client survey to assist with future strategic planning, but the results are inconclusive. This survey was discussed at the latest board meeting, where it was generally agreed that stakeholders need to be consulted and their conflicting demands need to be considered when devising NCTech's next strategic plan. Prepare a report for the commercial director which evaluates the various stakeholders who may influence strategic planning at NTech and consider how they may have conflicting demands. Now, these are marketing director, CEO, commercial director, operations director, finance director, chair, CEO. And these are just, this is a ट्रांसक्रिप्ट ऑफ द डिस्कशन. ठीक है, ट्रांसक्रिप्ट ऑफ द डिस्कशन मतलब वॉट एवर दे डिस्कस दे मस्ट हैव पुट इट टुगेदर. नाउ who do you think are the key stakeholders here as per this conversation का जो आपके पास एक डेटा आया है, according to that, who do you think are the key stakeholders? Tell me.
Shareholders, investors.
Okay, shareholders. Which shareholders? All of them. Institutional shareholders. कौन है?
Yes.
Is everyone tired?
No, sir. Institutional investors, sir.
Okay, then founding shareholders,
Yes.
Yes.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Then clients and employees, right? As a
Yes.
service-based organization, the company depends on its employees heavily to execute strategy. It's not a manufacturing entity कि किसी का भी काम कोई भी कर लेगा. There are special skill sets that have been developed, and there are certain expectations of employees that need to be honored. Correct? When it comes to clients, clients are the only revenue source, and therefore they are very important stakeholders in the overall scheme of things. High interest in the system. Their needs
Uh,
shape the company's strategic direction. Now, if the company fails to evolve the offering, then clients will shift to other competitors, right? Developing enhanced cloud services requires substantial infra investment, and this may create tension with shareholders who prioritize short-term profitability. है ना? So clients want high quality service. For that, a certain cost will have to be incurred right now to give it to them in the long run. This might conflict with what shareholders want. Shareholders would be looking for profits, right? Founding shareholders, they sit on the board, they have more influence than the ordinary shareholders, but they do not form a majority. But the company often derives its value, often derives its importance because of the people who founded the company. So they do have a significant influence on how the company is functioning. Not significant influence in the way you understand that in SBR, but of course they have a certain say in the way things are happening, and their longs the company derives its value, its continuity from the presence of these people. If these people were to leave the company, if the founders were to leave the company, people's faith in the company would be shaken. So founders again are very important, right? And what about institutional shareholders? What can we say about them? See, companies
So,
listed. Yes,
so
tell.
they'll also want to maximize the shareholder, like maximize their wealth
Hmm?
because they have taken the money from other people and then have in together invested. So they'll be like looking for the returns as well.
Okay.
and additional cost would be required, so that would not go with the interest of institutional investors.
Okay. Fair enough. ठीक है. Let's have a look. ठीक है, पढ़िए इसको. ठीक है। Okay. The last task in this is about preparation of slides, main capitals that should be included in an integrated report, right? And advice on business benefits to NCTech of adopting integrated reporting. Six main capitals is a straightforward question. You don't really need my help or guidance for that. So draft the last part of the answer and you should be good to go. ठीक है। इम्पोर्टेंस ऑल्सो मतलब वो स्ट्रेट फॉरवर्ड थियोरी क्वेश्चन है बट डोंट फॉरगेट टू कोरिलेट इट विद फैक्ट्स ऑफ द केस।